The letters SAE are spelling trouble for at least a second time. That's the National Fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon. It's the fraternity that got itself kicked off campus at Oklahoma University and two of its members expelled for singing ugly racist songs. Well, now things are getting worse. At another campus, the University of Washington, Seattle, a black student group says they were heckled and insulted with racial slurs by members of SAE.
That's when they started shouting and then flipping us off and started saying, like, "You apes, why are you here? Get out of here."
It's just absolutely unacceptable and something we would never just let slide by.
We are ultimately trying to find the truth about the matter. Every member of my organization is as offended and frustrated by the situation as the BSU, in my opinion.
All right, let's bring in our legal guys. Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor in Cleveland. Good to see you. And Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas. Good to see you as well. All right, so these two allegations, now we're talking about OU and University of Washington, Seattle, plaguing this frat, and now SAE has hired a big-name attorney. Listen.
As I said at the beginning, this matter is not one that seeks a legal solution. We seek to invite the university and its leadership, President Bourne and his designated representatives, and where appropriate, we consider it a good idea to invite representatives of the American Civil Liberties Union in Oklahoma and the state and perhaps Oklahoma City chapters of the NAACP. We believe that working together in a positive manner, we can find a solution that is acceptable to everyone to make this a teachable moment and an educational moment for what is seriously a flawed incident.
All right, so that's attorney Stephen Jones. He represented Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma City bombing of the federal Murrah building, and so now he's representing SAE. So what is the objective here? You know, Attorney Jones says this may be an issue of due process denied, particularly in the case of Oklahoma University, Richard, that expulsion happening before due process. Is this a valid direction?
You know, Fred, Mr. Jones is a sophisticated, very bright attorney, and he knows, like we've talked about before, for about $250, anybody can sue anybody. And here, technically, are there due process violations? Yes, there probably are. Could there be a due process hearing? Yes, there could be. Do we know the result of that? We know the result of that. Here's the situation, Fred. This timing could not be worse for Sigma Alpha Epsilon, with the country reeling from Selma, the anniversary of Selma, from Ferguson, from Garner in New York. Racism is on #1 on the list these days. And to have an incident like this at the University of Oklahoma and get magnified to the extent that it is unbelievable. Now, this is not a local fraternity. It's a national fraternity. And I read in the paper today, the national fraternity has disbanded the fraternity at the University of Oklahoma. So they don't exist anymore, whether the university does it or not. They're gone. So I looked at their mission statement. I picked out their mission statement. And the creed that this fraternity goes by is, we like to be deemed true gentlemen. That's their mission statement. They have utterly failed.
It doesn't matter what their mission statement is.
I don't think there can be any resolution here to bring this fraternity back. It's over. They're going to be ostracized.
And now what about the students, though? Because the parents of the students might want to say, wait a minute, should my kids have been expelled on these grounds? And so, Avery, if we're talking about due process and we're talking about this attorney saying they had the right to at least give their side of the story before being expelled, but at the same time, isn't there a code of conduct, an expectation of students' behavior on campus? And does the Oklahoma University President David Bourne have this discretion to say, this violates the code of conduct, and so you're out of here without legal challenge?
Doing legal analysis, not talking about gentlemen. What the legal analysis is here is, as an organization, SAE has absolutely no due process rights. They are gone. They are there as a privilege. The individuals, however, Frederick, and this is very important.
That's wrong.
It is a public university. They are entitled to notice. They are entitled to a hearing. David Bourne, who frankly is wonderful, but he should know better, should have suspended these students, given them notice about what they did wrong, and had a hearing. And based on that evidence, he has the right to do the appropriate remedy there. But The violation of rights is not even in question here. These students have a right to a hearing notice, and the summary expulsion was absolutely unconstitutional.
Really? Okay. So on that note then, Richard, you know, we are talking about a public university, and that means that all students should feel comfortable being able to attend, go to this school. But if you have racist chants, that certainly creates a, you know, an unsavory atmosphere, an uncomfortable atmosphere, and thereby the president would have discretion to say this behavior is unacceptable, or on the grounds of First Amendment rights, will he be challenged?
You know, Fred, the university is partially federally funded and state funded. There are constitutional protections afforded to the students of this fraternity. But we know the result of that investigation. We've looked at the video. It's not any great shakes that are going to be uncovered in this investigation.
Prejudge it.
That's why the attorney is very sophisticated. He's trying everything in his power to try to keep the fraternity alive by entering into some sort of rehabilitative, some sort of approach. The issue is this: they are entitled to the process. They will lose.
And who wouldn't benefit ultimately? Because, I mean, one of the the two parents of the other young man, Levi Pettit, who was also expelled, said he's going to have to live with this for the rest of his life. And so the damage is done. So how could, I guess, the reputation of the kids be resurrected, or even SAE from an incident like this?
SAE is gone, Frederica. The reputation of the children may be gone. The issue here is due process. Those kids have the right to a hearing. This has been a meat cleaver approach when they're supposed to be using a surgical scalpel. If not, you throw away the Constitution. Their behavior is reprehensible, but we have a process, Frederica, and when we throw that away, the Constitution is nullified.
So quickly then, does this mean that the parents or even the students will be able to sue the school?
They potentially could sue the school, but the attorney is telling us he's not going to sue the school. He doesn't want to sue the school.
He's trying to
settle it. It sounded like nothing was definitive. He even said he's not really sure which direction we're going to take.
Right, and there's still an investigation going on.
It's going to get settled. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, Richard, Avery, thank you so much. Always appreciate you, gentlemen. Even more fun when we're all talking at the same time. But somehow I still understand everything. All right, good to see you guys. Thanks so much. See you next weekend. Much more in the newsroom right after this.